The little bell above the cafe door gives the softest chime as you step inside. I thought someone might come in tonight. Come in. There's no rush. You can leave the rain outside for a little while. It's warm in here, not too warm, just enough to make cold hands begin to relax. There's still a table free by the window. It's my favourite one. You can watch the rain without getting caught in it. I'll put the kettle on. It seems the right thing to do at this time of night. Some people come here because they're travelling. Some because they're working late. And every now and then, someone arrives simply because sleep never did. Whichever one brought you here, I'm glad you found the place. The rain sounds different through old windows. Have you ever noticed that? Modern glass makes rain sound sharp, almost impatient. Old glass softens it somehow. As though every drop has travelled a long way before reaching you. There, the kettle is beginning to murmur. Not boiling yet, just waking up. The cafe has a habit of slowing everything down. Even time seems to walk instead of run. There's an old clock above the counter. It still keeps perfect time. Although I don't think anyone comes here because they're worried about time. Especially not tonight. Tonight is simply somewhere to be. Nothing more, nothing less. Your chair has settled now. That little wooden creak always happens after a moment or two. Every chair in here has its own voice. The lamp beside the window flickers once before deciding to stay on. It always does that. I've stopped wondering why. Now it almost feels comforting. Outside, the street is empty. reflections from the lamps stretch across the wet pavement like ribbons of gold. Every now and then, a car passes in the distance. Not close enough to disturb the quiet, just enough to remind us that somewhere, someone else is still awake too. It's an odd feeling, isn't it? During the day, the world feels crowded. But in the middle of the night, it becomes really easy to think you're the only one still awake. You're not. Not tonight. Not while this cafe still has its lights on. Take another slow breath. There's nowhere you need to be. Nothing waiting for you for the next little while. Just the sound of the rain, the warmth of your drink, and someone quietly keeping you company until the night begins to soften. The kettle has gone quiet now. It always seems louder when it's boiling, and strangely peaceful once it's finished. I'll leave your cup here by the window. It's still warm enough. No hurry. There never really is in places like this. I sometimes wonder how many people have sat in that chair over the years. Not who they were. That's never seemed important. More, what kind of night brought them there? Perhaps someone had been travelling longer than they had expected. Perhaps somebody had finished a late shift and wasn't quite ready to go home. Perhaps someone simply woke at 2 o'clock and found the silence in their own house just a little too loud. It's funny. During the day, people often feel like they have to explain themselves. Where they've been, what they're doing, why they're late, why they're tired. But not here. Not at this hour. Some places don't ask why you're awake. They just leave a light on. rain has become steadier now. You almost stop noticing it, until a heavier drop finds the window and reminds you it's still there. I think that's one of the nicest things about quiet. It doesn't disappear. You simply settle into it. Outside, one person walks along the opposite pavement, hands in their pockets, head slightly down against the weather. They're gone almost as quickly as they appeared. See? The world hasn't stopped. It's just become quieter. There are nurses finishing long shifts, bakers beginning early mornings, taxi drivers taking someone safely home, parents comforting babies who have decided that sleep can wait until tomorrow. People setting off for airports before the roads become too busy. And somewhere, someone else is looking out of another window, wondering, am I the only one awake? They aren't, and neither are you. There are little marks all over these tables. I wonder where they come from. The sort you only notice when the light catches them. Well, I used to wonder how they got there. Now I rather like not knowing. Perhaps someone rested a heavy suitcase here before catching the first train home. Perhaps someone sat with a notebook, trying to find the right words. Perhaps two old friends laughed over cups of tea until closing time. Or perhaps someone simply sat in silence, much like we're doing now. I think people sometimes worry that silence means something has gone wrong. But I don't believe that. Some of the kindest moments I've ever known have been the quiet ones. The sort where nobody expected conversation. Nobody expected answers. Just company. The rain has softened again. Listen. Can you hear it? It's no longer tapping against the window. It almost sounds as if somebody's breathing. Slowly, steadily, without asking anything from the night. There's a little bookshelf behind you. Only a few shelves. Really unorganised. People have always left books here. Finished novels. Old travel guides. Poetry collections with folded corners. Sometimes somebody leaves a note inside. Not for anyone in particular. Just a thought they hoped might make another stranger smile one day. I like that idea. People helping people they'll probably never meet. Without applause, without recognition, just because they can. Perhaps that's what places like this quietly collect. Not furniture, not cups, not clocks, but small moments of wry smiles. I suppose that's why this cafe feels different after midnight. It isn't quieter because the customers have gone. It's quieter because all those gentle moments seem to linger in the air. Almost like the room remembers them. If you look out the window now, the rain has turned the road into a mirror. Every street light stretches across the pavement like golden ribbons. The whole world is softer tonight, and somehow I think that suits it. I don't think the night ever stays exactly the same. People often imagine darkness as one long moment, but it isn't. It changes, little by little, almost too slowly to notice. The rain has become lighter now, not stopped, just less certain of itself Every now and then there's a moment where it goes almost completely before returning again for a minute or two. The windows have begun to mist over. You can still see the street beyond them, but everything has softer edges now. Almost as though the whole world has decided it doesn't need to be quite so sharp. I sometimes think the hardest part of being awake at this hour is believing that this moment will last forever. When you're lying in bed, looking at the clock, 5 minutes can feel like half an hour. The silence grows louder. Your thoughts become convincing. The night feels endless. But nights are curious things. They never ask our permission to move on. They simply do. Somewhere, a baker is unlocking a door. Somewhere else, milk is being delivered. A newspaper lands gently on someone's doorstep. A ferry is crossing dark water. A lighthouse is still turning. A train is making a quiet journey through sleeping towns. The world has already started preparing for tomorrow. Even if it doesn't look that way from this little window. And somehow, I find that comforting. Not because tomorrow promises to be perfect, but because life has a quiet habit of continuing. And somehow, I think that's enough for now. It won't be long before the first morning bus passes along the road. Nobody inside will be thinking much about this little cafe. They'll be thinking about work. They'll be thinking about school and shopping lists, about ordinary Thursdays. And somehow, I rather like that. Because ordinary mornings have a quiet kindness of their own. They remind us that life keeps finding gentle ways to begin again. The rain has almost stopped now. Just the occasional drop slipping from the roof above the window. The street lights still glow, but they don't seem quite as lonely as they did an hour ago. Perhaps it's the changing sky, or perhaps everything feels a little different, especially once you've sat somewhere warm for a while. Your tea has long since cooled. The chair has become familiar. The room somehow feels smaller now. Not because it's changed, but because it's no longer unfamiliar. Funny, isn't it? Sometimes all we really need is somewhere that asks nothing from us. No explanations, no expectations, no need to pretend we feel better than what we are. Just a chair, a warm drink, rain against the window, and another human being quietly sharing the same piece of night. If you ever find yourself awake again, if the hours seem unusually long, or the silence in your own home feels a little too heavy, you don't have to remember every word we shared tonight. Just remember the feeling. A warm room, a window filled with rain, a kettle quietly boiling away, and one light still shining bright long after the rest of the street has gone to sleep. I think I'll stay here a little longer, just until morning properly arrives. There's no rush. There never was. Thank you for spending part of your night with me. I hope wherever tomorrow takes you, you find a little kindness waiting there too. And if another sleepless night brings you back to me, you'll find the same chair by the window, the kettle, the rain, and the light still on. Good night.